2022 is probably the most important year to take the suggestion just to jump into a cheap house. Rental prices are going through the roof. This is an article from Los Angeles where rents are at insane levels, not just in Los Angeles, but across the U.S. We've seen it in North Carolina, Boise, Idaho, small towns in Montana. I'm sure in your town you're seeing rental costs jump through the roof. Where an apartment used to be $800 or $900 or $1,000, now it's $1,500, and it's going to go up again after that. And the reason why is because in some cases landlords are gouging and profiteering, but in some cases their costs are going up too. Well, what happens when a house is priced reasonably in the marketplace? Well, here's an example where a house in North Carolina was like a feeding frenzy. There was people all over with a traffic jam in the neighborhood trying to see this house. And the realtor, or might have been a neighbor, had a little video where, let me put the sound off so it won't interrupt, where it was recorded the activity in this neighborhood. You can see cars lined up down the block, people walking all over the place, up and down the street. A frenzy of people trying to see this one house because it was priced at $260,000. One house. They estimated that there were over 200 people came to look at this one house as soon as it hit the market. It was like an amazing concert ticket camp out, right? So what is the reason for this? Well, it's because there are no houses like that. Well, maybe there is. Well, let's take a look first of all why somebody would want a house at that price. Here's a mortgage calculator for a house that's around $200,000. We plugged in $220,000 for the price, 10% down payment, so $22,000 down payment. So you're financing about $200,000. Well, your base mortgage payment is only $1,000. That's going to be less than you're paying in rent for a 2-bedroom apartment in most places. You're going to have some additional monthly fees. Your property tax is probably going to be $2,000 or $3,000 a year, and that'll be put into your mortgage payment. And you'll probably have to pay insurance, your homeowner's insurance, of about $700 or $800. But if you have an apartment, you may have a renter's insurance already that's a few $100s a year. So you may not actually have all of this to add on to your budget. So for a $200,000 house, you can be in for under $1,400 in most cases. And we put in a reasonably average credit score and an interest rate that's not really low, 4.5%. If you really shopped around, you could probably get a little bit less than that, but the rates are probably going to go up anyways. Well, what kind of house can you get for $200,000? Well, if you've seen in other videos, there's many houses available all around the country. Here's one in Parker, Arizona. It's 1,100 square feet, 3-bedroom, 2-bath house. Kind of like a Mission style adobe house, 2-car garage, and it's also near Colorado River. It's near a lot of boating, a lot of recreational type things, and in addition to that, it looks like it has a carport besides the garage. But here's the backyard. It's right on the water, right? And this is an area where there's a lot of recreation. People go to Lake Havasu and go to a lot of other kind of touristy type things. Parker, Arizona. You may not want to move to Parker, Arizona. That's fine. There are $200,000 houses in every part of the country within an hour or so of any major city you can think of. In this day and age with work from home and remote employment, it doesn't really matter where you live. And you might say, well, I don't want this kind of house. This house is beneath me, or I really want my dream home. Well, if at this point your dream home is $500,000 or $600,000 or $700,000, and either you don't have the down payment or the income, that's fine. At least jump into this. It's better than renting. What do you have to lose? When you rent, all of your money that you spend every month, $1,500 a month, $18,000 a year, is wasted. It goes to the landlord. It goes to the property owner. It's all gone. If you buy a house, your money is going towards your mortgage. Maybe not a lot at first because it's mostly interest, but it's also tax deductible. because you can deduct that interest off your taxes. And you're also building equity. More importantly, if this house goes up even 5% next year, now it's going to be worth $210,000. Well, properties went up 20% last year. So even if the rate of increase goes down, you're going to make $10,000 just sitting in that house. More importantly, your downside is not that much. How much less could this house be worth in 5 years or 4 years or 3 years? It's not going to be worth less than $200,000. We're not in a bubble where people are getting these crazy mortgages and interest-only mortgages where they're just going to walk away and these housing prices are going to crash. If anything, there's inflation more coming to the economy because of lumber prices, fuel prices, all of the other debt that's built into the economy. That's a whole nother subject for economic analysis. You don't really need to care about the national economy. You just need to care about your personal economy. And buying a $200,000 house is almost a no-lose situation. You're going to spend about the same as you have for rent, and it's fixed. It's locked in. The landlord can't raise your rent. If you're paying $1,100 a month right now, or $1,200 or $1,500, next year they could add on $200 or add on $250. If you have a mortgage and you own your house, the landlord can't raise your mortgage payment. Nobody can raise it up because it's locked in. And if you ever decide you want to move up in the world and maybe buy a $600,000 house or a $400,000 house, if the housing prices go up, at least you are on the bandwagon of recognizing profits on real estate. If you're renting, you're just chasing a moving target. That $400,000 house that you want to have today that you can't afford might be $500 in 3 years or $600 in 7 years. At least if you buy a $200,000 house, if it goes up to $250 or $260 or $270 in a few years, you can use that equity to offset what your dream house may have gone up in value. Are there going to be some expenses? Yeah, you might have to keep some money for, maybe fixing the plumbing or fixing electrical, but you'll also learn homeowner skills, how to repair things yourself. You don't need to rely on a landlord to fix your plumbing. You can do this yourself. More importantly, you will get the benefit of appreciation of a property. If the obstacle or your hesitation is because maybe you don't want this kind of a house, maybe you want a different kind of house, at least get something. It's better than an apartment that you don't own. You have a place to park your car. You can start also accumulating assets that will help you have lower cost of life. Look, if you have a little box with some tools that you use to hang pictures, you're not going to be able to fix a sink or to fix your car. If you have a garage where you can start storing things that will help you have lower expenses in life because you can do things yourself, or you can buy something today that maybe you need in a year that won't have the same price. A lot of homeowners are making $500 or $600 a year because they're buying groceries 6 months in advance and putting them in a pantry. Because your grocery bill today, if it's $300, 2 years ago was probably $180 a month. So you can actually save some money by having a place to store things that might be higher priced down the road. There's so many advantages of doing it. Look, we're not real estate agents. We have nothing to gain from this. We're not profiting from real estate at all. We're just trying to give economic suggestions that might help consumers avoid being priced out in the future. Again, here's your mortgage payment. A $200,000 house is about $1,000 a month. Compare that to your rent and think about what upside you might have if this $200,000 house is worth $210 or $220 or $230 in a few years. That's like making $30,000 by doing nothing. Just continuing to do the same thing you do. Live in a place, paying your monthly payment. And you won't have to worry about these rental price increases that are insane. And it says no end in sight. Well, how far out can economists see? 2 or 3 years at least. So what they're saying is, for 2 or 3 years, this is not going to level off. In fact, this article is KTLA in Los Angeles, but this phone number, 786, this is Miami. So this covers the whole country. Keep it in mind as an option. Watch our channel, watch our website. We're going to list examples of $200,000 houses all over the country on a regular basis. Some will have acreage, some will have near the beach, near the ocean, some will be in the mountains. You'll see these themes that will show up that will give you an idea of what you can buy. And you can find this anywhere. Good luck with your residential pursuits, and we'll see you in the next video.